Today, we're going to talk about the 3 key outbound lead generation channels and when and why to use these channels, because there's a good chance you don't have to use all 3 channels within your own outbound lead generation strategy. So let's dive in. So firstly, the number one thing that you need to consider when we think about these 3 lead generation channels is, where does your target market hang out and what's the easiest way to get through them? When you can answer those 2 questions, you can then decide which strategy is going to suit best. Let's talk this through. So firstly, we've got cold calling. Good old run-of-the-mill telemarketing. Yes, it still works. And in particular, this works in key target markets. Let me explain. So with cold calling, this works super well with target markets like this SME market, small business owners. When we're trying to get through to those, there's a good chance they may or may not be on socials, they may or may not check emails well, but one thing that we know, if they're trying to grow their business, they're probably going to answer their phone. So if you're trying to get through to that market, one of the best ways still is to just pick up the phone and give them a call, because they're going to answer. They need to have that phone on them. This works particularly well in things like trade businesses, any service type businesses, anywhere that they need to be reached by their clients. They're probably going to pick up the phone and have a chat to you as well, purely because they're on that phone all the time. So emails is, to be honest, probably my 3rd favorite channel out of the 3. It is my least favorite. The reason being is that you need to send out so many emails to generate leads. It's a huge numbers game and you need huge amounts of data. And then you're sifting through replies and auto replies, all that sort of thing. Obviously you can get a VA to do that. But yeah, it still works in key markets where you know that people are going to be looking at every single email. Typically that's in executive style positions, a lot within IT, that sort of thing. So if you're targeting things like CIOs, CTOs, that sort of thing, then it's still a great way to get in front of them, because you know that they're going to open them. The next step is trying to get them to respond. That's the real challenge. And within the other 2 channels, generally you can get a response, but emails can be so hit and miss. But still, we found that to be really effective in things like that tech space, those executives that are predominantly behind the emails all the time, that may not answer their phones, but they're at least going to see a message. The final one is social media, and the big one with B2B is of course LinkedIn, but this can apply to other channels as well, but predominantly we're talking LinkedIn here, and the people that are on LinkedIn are those that tend to be trying to grow their careers. So things like HR managers, C-suite executives, even some CEOs. Small business owners can still be on here, and you can really target them because they are a fairly broad audience, but still they're not going to use it as much generally. But those ones that are on there all the time are things like HR and C-suite and that sort of thing. So that's still a fantastic channel to target them, because they may not answer their phone quite as much, but you know that they're pretty active on LinkedIn and you can reach out to them. So always consider that in context of which channel you're going to choose. So I would do that first, is define who your target market is and do a bit of research. See how many, go on Sales Navigator, see how many people are there that you can potentially tap into and connect with. Try this out. Do a week of cold calling and see what kind of cut-through rate you get and number of conversations that you actually book through to an appointment. And then try this out. Do 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 emails to get an idea of how this channel works. But when you can go, okay, my audience is pretty clear, I'm targeting small business owners, there's a good chance you can just go, hey, I won't worry about emails and LinkedIn. I'll just go straight to cold calling. Hope that helps. Hope that helps you with that outbound strategy, because it's still a great way to connect directly to your target market, particularly for those that aren't searching for your product or service. Talk soon.